Pakistan cricket at its best. 1 minute down, next minute up.
Thanks, folks, for joining me once again. Saj Sadek here, bringing you an exclusive interview for PakPassion. Absolutely delighted to be joined by a gentleman who's played two first-class matches, played a few matches for Loughborough University as well, and I'm sure he's got plenty of other cricketing credentials and experience that I'm probably not familiar with. More importantly, he's part of the CD Ventures group who have taken over Multan Sultans. In fact, he's the brains, the CEO behind this adventure for ventures, I'd call it. It's a fantastic achievement for him at such a young age, and I'm sure you join me in wishing him all the best for the future. Absolutely delighted to be joined by Gohar Shah. Gohar, thanks very much for your time.
No problem at all.
Gohar, I think first and
Thank you for
foremost,
having me.
yeah, no problem at all. It's an absolute pleasure. Apart from following PakPassion very closely over the past few years, which I know you shared with me, tell us a little bit about yourself. I'm sure the our viewers will want to know a little bit of background about you.
Yeah, sure. So like most kids growing up in Pakistan, from very young age, cricket was, everything, a big part of my life. Eat, sleep, repeat cricket all day long. I'd skip school to watch cricket games, play cricket before going to school, after school. And then I was lucky enough to make my way up through all the age groups, all the way up to first class cricket. I was also lucky to play cricket at Loughborough, which is, considered to be one of the best sports programs in the world. Then subsequently, whilst I was playing in Loughborough, I played back home over here in Pakistan. The two first class games you referred to. Then, unfortunately, my career didn't pan out. I had, back to back career threatening injuries. First two surgeries on my elbow, then, a really bad back fracture. So subsequently, I stayed on at Loughborough for a master's program, because I didn't really have anywhere else to go because my CV was just cricket teams I played for, and I didn't really see myself in a coaching gig. So right after uni, post grad, I ended up getting a job at Deloitte and working at Deloitte for 5 years. That was a great learning curve and how businesses are run. And whilst I was at Deloitte in my spare time, I invest here or there, and I turns out that I had a really good skill set in the investing world, in particular biotech. And when that sort of kicked off, I had the financial freedom, and that allowed me to create the SPV that you mentioned, CD Ventures, which then subsequently went on to invest in buy Multan Sultans, and that's why I'm here today.
When did you think you would own a PSL franchise? Was that the vision many years ago, or is that just a recent idea?
It's very recent, to be honest. It's I couldn't afford it up until like 18 months ago, to be honest. And then, things have been good. Life's been good. Returns have been awesome. So cannot complain. And then it came to a point where I felt like, okay, this team's for sale. So I've got to do something, right? And that's how it panned out.
So, a little bit of background. I'm sure our viewers will know the history. You bought Sialkot Stallionz that became available, and then you obviously renamed it back to Multan Sultans. So, just give us a little bit of background about initially sort of buying Sialkot and then renaming it to Multan Sultans.
So originally I went to buy Multan. Unfortunately, I lost out in that auction, and the owner relocated from Multan to Rawalpindi, and when they did that, that subsequently meant that Multan Sultan was no longer part of the PSL. So, um, and then it just happened to be that the Sialkot owners um, couldn't were in a position where they were looking for a strategic investor, and that's when I found out. So I reached out to them. We concluded a deal, which was allowed me to take over a very, very significant stake, and closer to 100%. And subsequently, that meant that I could also, and then I negotiate separately with the PSL that we can swap and relocate back to Multan, and that's how Multan Sultans, came back to the PSL.
You stated in one of your first interviews that you wanted South Punjab to be represented in the Pakistan Super League, which is commendable because I think not everybody would have that passion for that region. Firstly, explain your thinking behind that, and then secondly, when did the idea come about to go back to the original Multan Sultans name?
It was always going to be Multan Sultans. Like one of my preconditions of transacting with Sialkot was that I'd be allowed to swap it to Multan. Otherwise, there was no deal. And obviously, look, like, South Punjab, there's about 50 million people. They love cricket. They're very passionate about Multan Sultans. They're great supporters. And it just didn't feel right for a large part of our country to not have any representation in the sport that we all love so passionately. So, and for me, my ancestral home is in South Punjab, so it was a no-brainer that if I'm ever going to buy a team, it would represent my ancestral home, and that's how it panned out.
How disappointing is it that the original schedule, the fixture schedule, had several matches in Multan, but unfortunately, because of events outside yours and the PCB's control, no matches are now going to be played in Multan. That must be a little bit heartbreaking, a little bit disappointing.
Sure. Yes. So effectively, I was really like, I am the type of person who, and I said this in social media as well. I try to focus on what I can control. Obviously, it's not ideal to lose out on all of our home games, to not be able to play in front of fans at all. But that decision was not in my hands, and at this stage, the season's right upon us. I have to solely focus on getting it right with the facilities, the resources, and the limitations that have been imposed upon us. And look, it's no one wants to have a sporting league without fans or in just a certain number of cities, but that is the requirement of the hour, and I'm okay with that. And I have to bear very significant loss as a result of this as well, but it's okay. Bigger picture, we let this pass is better than having no cricket at all. All the Pakistani players will benefit significantly from the foreign contingent that's arrived as well. So, if a player loses out on a whole year of cricket, or, the Pakistan Super League, that's effectively 7 to 10% of all Pakistan Super Leagues that they play in their entire career. So, it would have had a huge, I mean, financially, it's already going to have a huge implication. But for Pakistan cricket, losing out on a whole year for players to grow and learn, in state of the art facilities, that would have taken our cricket back even further.
Any discussions with Ali Tareen before buying the franchise or since you bought it? Any good luck messages from him?
So yeah, so Ali Khan is a family friend, and he's an awesome person. He's very smart and he's very passionate about cricket. And we've spoken on and off. He's asked me for some of my thoughts on the cricketing side of things. He's offered some advice as well, and that's all there is to say.
You mentioned about overseas recruitment and overseas players taking part in the Pakistan Super League, and there's no bigger signing than the fantastic Steve Smith. You must be absolutely delighted with that signing, and it's huge for the PSL, isn't it, and for Multan Sultans.
Yeah, no, Smudge. He's a fantastic person. I've only had a chance to hang out with him throughout, the last night today, and I'm already, it's already so apparent why he's so good at what he does, and the way he prepares, the way he practices, the way he speaks about the game. It's there's so much for all of us to learn and grow with.
Regarding the name Multan Sultans, you said that that was always the plan. But do you think that creates additional pressure on yourselves as the owners and also the players and the coaching staff, where you are taking over a team that has historically done so well in the PSL and expectations will be high?
Look, the people of Multan, the people of South Punjab, they're very resilient. It's one of the oldest cities. We've fought famine, we fought storms, floods, heat waves, and come back every single time. So, we're resilient people. We're strong mentally as well, and we're fighters. Last year, our team finished last. We only won one game. And all myself and the other South Punjabi people know is to bounce back. And that's what we're instilling into the team as well. And if we can bounce back from last place and hopefully go on to win the tournament this year, it wouldn't be anything extraordinary for people from of South Punjab, but it would be an extraordinary result in terms of the happiness and the joy it'll bring.
You mentioned about bouncing back and resilience, and I think Australians are very well known for that. And we've mentioned Steve Smith already, but you've gone for Tim Paine as your head coach, which is a very interesting choice. Was he your first choice, and why Tim Paine?
Absolutely. It's because we're actually a very young entity. Myself, I'm a young owner as well. Tim's a young coach. He's a fantastic coach. He understands the game so well. He's just only recently stopped playing. He's very sharp. He eats, breathes, sleeps cricket. He's as good as anyone I've worked with. And ever since he's arrived, he's only been up and down, running around to ensure that anything the team needs is sorted and accounted for.
What are your expectations of the team? Is it a case of, well, we're almost like we're starting again, because gone are the sort of the Mohammed Rizwans and all that group of players that were part of the Multan Sultans heritage. Is it a case of consolidating this season, or is it a case of going all out for the win?
Look, more than either of those things, the most important thing is to play the right way. And I've spoken about this in many, many interviews as well. We are trying to instill a way of playing cricket. It's called total cricket, where every player has a role to play, whether they're playing on the field or off. It's a way of life practically. And when you're on the field, you're very proactive. You're trying to score if you're batting at all times. But you don't, it's not a gung ho approach. It's a very smart methodological approach to playing the game. Similarly, when you're bowling, you're trying to attack at all times and you're trying to take wickets. And similarly, when you're fielding, you're trying to squeeze the opposition and you're trying to make it harder for them and try to save as many runs as possible. So both of those three things, if we can play the right way, that's a huge win for us. And whether we get it right this year or next or in subsequent years, if we play the way we're positioning ourselves to do, we'll actually win games convincingly and subsequently win the tournament convincingly as well, year in, year out.
Happy with the squad and how the auction went?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, we have a fantastic group of players. We could actually field two sides in the PSL and neither of them be less than the other. So I think we're one of the only teams that has the capability to do that.
We've seen one or two players sign PSL contracts and then go and sign for the Indian Premier League. As an owner, as sort of part of the PSL hierarchy now, which you are, and it's also frustrating for the chairman of the Pakistan Cricket Board and PCB officials. I mean, how frustrating is that? Do you think? I mean, obviously, to sign a contract and then go for another league, it must be very frustrating.
Well, all of our players showed up. We had the highest overseas contingent in coaches and players. We also had the most expensive players in terms of purse spent. We also had the most expensive coaching staff in terms of salaries. So I don't know what the other franchise is doing or what I'm doing differently because I'm new here and I've only done it this way. But I can only speak for myself. And everyone showed up. Everyone showed up on time, and everyone's raring to go. And there's no talk of any other leagues that they'd like to play for.
And have the other owners and other teams, franchise owners, etc., been welcoming, or are they a little bit worried and looking over their backs at you guys?
Everyone's been welcoming. I don't want to say anything that is not true. Everyone's been super welcoming. But having said that, everyone's super competitive. When things get tough and things get hard, everyone wants to win.
So you've gone for that whole Australian vibe, really, haven't you? And with Ashton Turner, Tim Paine, Steve Smith as one of your main players, is that a deliberate ploy?
No, we've just gone for the best available individuals in the roles that we are trying to profile for total cricket. Ashton Turner in world cricket, he could have been from anywhere else in the world. He has the best cricketing captaincy CV. Steve Smith's one of the best batters in the modern era. And Tim Paine, like I said before, he's the best coaching option available to us based on his experience and his understanding of the game alone. So yeah.
You come across as being very calm, calculated, focused. And I can imagine your team being like that as well, with you at the helm. What's the message for your team, basically, for your coaching staff and your players from yourself?
Yeah, no, of course. So again, I will do whatever it takes and provide whatever I can provide to this team to ensure that we play the right way. We play with fearlessness. We play with composure and determination, and that we instill a winning mentality across our younger players as well. Um, since we have a lot of experienced elite players in our side as well. So that's all I expect really. And I've said to the players, if you're not fit, be open about it. You will still get paid. It will be the only franchise that will pay 100% of player salaries regardless of availability. And we want that insecurity to go away so players actually play when it's the right time to play or when they feel, over 80 to 90%. No one's ever 100% in elite sport. But we want them to be able to execute their skills effectively. And the only way that they can do that is if they're athletically, physically able to do so. So, yeah, there's little tweaks like that from the ownership perspective that I've put in place. And hopefully we can show results this year. It's a quick turnaround and it's not easy to, bring in such radical changes in a country like Pakistan where certain things are done a certain way and everyone just expects that those ways are respected forever and ever. But luckily for me, since I'm not answerable to anyone, I have the final word on making the changes. And but again, I'm consulting with the right people, and our coaching staff has been very helpful in guiding me to ensure that the cricketing side of things are not compromised in some of these radical changes. And yeah, so far so good. Cannot complain.
What impresses me about you guys is that you've already got one eye on the future. You're not just thinking about this PSL. By signing Yasir Arafat, who I've known for a very long time, he's a very good friend of mine. I speak very highly of him because I think he deserves that recognition. You've signed him, and he's going to come into his role after this PSL. So you're already thinking and planning for the future, aren't you?
That's right. That's right. And that's how it should be, right? So Yasir Arafat was not available this year, but that doesn't mean that a person like him um, is not going to be a significant support and help to our franchise. And it was very important for me to have, sit him down, see if we can make something work in the future. And as soon as I got the green light, we managed to come to what was announced.
Fantastic, Go. I really appreciate your time. I know it's a very busy time for you, and as I say, I'm very thankful. Wish you all the best. I'm sure you guys will do very well. You seem to be very focused on the task in hand. So I'm sure Multan Sultans will be a huge success. And as I say, wish you all the best for the future.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Take care. Thanks for your time, Saj. And it's an honor to be interviewed by a forum that I spend a lot of time on.
Thank you.